What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude, and to the person that was complaining in the YouTube comments about Sam not having a mic on the last episode, he has now moved it closer to his face. So in your face.
I've always had a mic. Is it now? I can't see Trill. There's no reactions. There's no the visual medium is terrible now. There's not going to be any vamping. I can't see when I'm pissing Trill off, and I know to push even harder. So it'll really impact the flow of the pod. But
it's going to ruin our TikToks. Have you not thought about that, sir?
Oh God! All right, fine. I'm closer now. Is this what you all wanted? God. Now you can't see the bottom. You can't see my fucked up teeth.
You commented this on the YouTube, on the public. You don't even sign up for the Patreon, and we're doing this. Imagine if you sign up for the Patreon, what we're willing to do.
Yeah, Trill will put me in a fucking stocks, give you all tomatoes. Premium tier Patreon subscribers get Rotten Tomatoes. If you $20 tier, you get a stone.
Yeah,
you can hit me with a stone in the head whenever I say something like, I don't think Aaron Wiggins is good, and you guys want to throw a tantrum about that, you can hit me in the head with a rock for it.
Did you see that message?
Yes.
Yes. For anyone who missed it. So I want to say, I want to defend you a little bit. For anyone who missed this, someone commented in the Discord that, which by the way is behind the Patreon / only Sam's tier that you can sign up for. In the Discord, he basically said in the last episode that we did, which was the Prestige Zone episode that we did on the Patreon with Sean Hyken. If you don't know what the Prestige Zone is, it's basically, someone who gets a PR for playing for a marquee team or a nerd favorite team or a small market, whatever. And Sam was right in that Aaron Wiggins has become a little bit of a Prestige Zone guy, but also he took him in the best value contracts draft that we did a few months ago as well. Both can be true, in my opinion, though. I think you were right in both cases in that Aaron Wiggins might have got a little bit overrated because he was a nerd favorite on a scam contract on the team that won the title, combined with the fact that he's on a scam contract.
Yeah, they're not mutually exclusive. Right. In fact, usually one leads to the other. Like Derek White, if Derek White has a down year, you know what I'm saying? Like he's dangerously close to like a Prestige Zone type, like kind of,
hashtag
you know what I'm saying? Like where he's like he's properly rated right now, but like if he took like a little bit of a hit, he'd be like, everyone would be okay, pump the brakes. You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
no, we didn't take him in the Prestige Zone draft because we determined that the BMM, the Boston Media Mafia, is its own thing entirely. And I will say, Derek White did predate Boston though. Like he was a favorite. He was a nerd favorite.
Because he was a Spur, which is the other Prestige Zone like thing.
Which will lead perfectly into the draft we're about to do, which is the best value picks of the last decade draft. Although I guess Derek White technically would not qualify because we did come up with a qualifier. And yes, it is true that I am coming up with more creative ways just to reward Tyrese Maxey, taking it back to the roots of You Know Ball, coming up with a concept that will just celebrate Tyrese Maxey. Mateo pointed that out earlier today, and that is literally the only point of this episode. But the reason that I wanted to do this draft was because we could sit here and just do, the best value picks, quote unquote, and just list off the best players who were not taken in the top 5 or 10 of the draft, and that's it. But I wanted to get a little bit more creative and go the best value picks of the last decade with the qualifier that the player had to have his best years or some prime years on the team that he played for that drafted him. So if you are the 3 players that everyone instantly thinks of when it comes to this draft, which would be SGA, Halliburton, Brunson, those guys don't count because they all had the best years / prime years of their career on the teams that did not draft them. On other teams, they were traded, they left in free agency. So for this draft, we're just going to keep it for players that did it with the original team, because otherwise it's just going to be us listing off the very obvious ones. And there's not much to say about those players that hasn't already been said on this podcast, on every NBA podcast. Shea just won the MVP, finals MVP, scoring champion, Brunson, we've talked about him a ton over the last few years. Halliburton, we probably talked about more than any player in the NBA over the last few years on this podcast. So I wanted to come up with this concept where it basically is, to go against CJ McCollum's thing the other day, rewarding teams for drafting well. So, and also someone pointed this out, which is that I think it was Wasserman posted about this, and he talked about how we especially like nerds like us and people that have, are very into the draft and into the NBA in general, they think that the scouting process stops once the draft is over. But I think that this draft will prove that that is not the case, because many of the players we'll talk about were players that might have been in trade rumors earlier in their career. Their teams ultimately decided to keep them and not trade them for player X, and that ended up benefiting the team that kept the player. The players that I just discussed, clearly the scouting process should not have been over for them, because if they saw where any of these players were going, they would have never let them out of their building. So, Sam, having said that, who would you like to take with the first pick in the best value draft picks of the last decade draft? So I'm going back to, just like the last episode, we'll go back to 2015 on this.
Okay, so Robert Williams is a huge now. I mean, I do think you kind of have to start with Pascal Siakam.
I had him literally number one on my board.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he's clearly, given the rules and constraints of like how we've played this out, it's got to be Pascal Siakam. We talked a little bit about this when we did the Masai Ujiri slop trial, which you can find clicking around on either the Patreon or the YouTube page. One of my favorite podcasts we've done recently, just because Masai was such a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde figure in terms of fucking being an NBA GM, where he literally was the best and the worst back to back.
Basically the Derrick Rose career.
yeah, the Derrick Rose
for a GM, like shined bright very early and was like, wow, I peaked, and then maybe Derrick Rose isn't a proper one. Maybe it's more like, I'm trying to think of, maybe
Grant Hill.
I would say Dwayne Wade, but Dwayne Wade had the LeBron years too. He didn't have his second option years, so you can't really do that as a GM anyway. But
two-time All-NBA player, selected 27th, I think, in the 2015 NBA draft.
Yeah, Siakam. NBA draft. And we talked about it on that slop trial episode a little bit, which is, as you pointed out on that episode, where they won the title. Was the 2016 draft, specifically the Siakam pick, because it's one of the more impressive picks for a number of reasons. One being that draft is just fucking nukes everywhere on the board, just like non-NBA players all over that range that he was drafted in.
Here, 22. No, hold on. Let's just go 21 down. DeAndre Bembry, Malachi Richardson, Ante Zizic, TLC, Bryce Johnson, Furkan Korkmaz.
The Sixers had 2 picks.
Yeah. Then you get Pascal Siakam and then Skal Labissiere. DeJounte Murray is taken right afterwards, but then it's Damian Jones, Deonta Davis, et cetera, et cetera. And so then another guy who might come up.
2 players left from in that range in the NBA still. And one of them was just the second best player on a finals team for the second time in his career. And he also is this crazy development story for the Raptors, which is kind of what they won their title on, right? Where they get all these late first, undrafted, second round guys, and then they add in these veterans to create this championship core. With Siakam, now look, we talked about it a little bit on the slop trial. You could debate whether Lowry or Siakam was more important to that team. By the end of the run, I think Siakam, like we talked about, like the fact that he was basically, he was doing some scoring volume stuff and stuff on defense that was so necessary for that Raptors team. He struggled in the Sixers series, but then really came alive in the finals against a banged up Warriors team. They end up winning. He goes from G League Finals MVP to clear starter to second best player on a finals team to all-star to all-NBA player, and has had, I mean, he's definitely in the Hall of Fame now, right? I don't know if we established this. I feel like he has to be.
If not, he's close. He will get into the NBA.
Okay.
There's guys the NBA. It's not
Yeah.
MLB. It's the NBA Hall of Fame. Like he'll get in. Like
yeah. So like I saw today. I don't know if you saw the clip of. Did you listen to the Zach Lowe episode that they just did? I haven't really been plugged in, but someone told me to listen to it because Howard Beck was on. And our guy Beck
get you to listen to it. That was how they were pitching it to you?
Well, no. The reason why was because it was they were talking about how Scoot Henderson is going to have essentially the best mentorship he could possibly have, playing beside Drew Holiday with Damian Lillard and then under Chauncey Billups. And I made a TikTok about it, I was basically like, Mateo pointed this out in the Discord earlier today, which was whenever fans and media talk about mentorships in the NBA, it's like, oh man, it's going to be great for Jabari Smith Jr. to play with Kevin Durant. And what they basically act as if is like it's an RPG and you're just adding points to your skill tree from these other players.
Yeah. It's like all downstream. Like the better the player is, the more skill tree points you kind of get from them. And I blame Chris Paul for this, because Chris Paul like invented like fascism machines that like actually did help players like around him, but it usually wasn't point guards. It like imperatively, like I guess you could say SGA kind of learned from Chris Paul, and like maybe that's where he is today. I mean, he is kind of a mid-range assassin like Chris Paul was. I don't necessarily know that. I think a lot of SGA's ability is very different from Chris Paul's ability. Let's
also talk about the fact that like all of the players that you're talking about, like Blake Griffin, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the time, those players that benefited from playing with Chris Paul weren't main initiators when they played with him. And Chris Paul was one of the greatest primary initiators in the history of the NBA. He simplifies the offense for players that are in play finishing roles.
Now that I think about it, though, he did play with another great initiator in James Harden, and that went really well.
It's perfect. They're back together now.
They're back together. I forgot about that they are back together now. Let's go.
Look, the first marriage didn't work, but they always say second time's the charm when it comes to marriages. So,
well, here's what you did. You try, you can't have the wife around your family. So you move to be near her family now.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Now they're trying it out, the home and home before you get divorced. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's going to go great now that they're both, in their late 30s and, settled down a little bit. They're not quite as angsty as they were 8 years ago when they were together.
I'm just going to say, in your late 30s is a perfectly good time to move in with someone. So if you're a doctor or a woman who has a high income or something like that, just, and you're the, clock's ticking, gotta sneak one in under the buzzer. Like just, really low maintenance.
Your line.
Yeah. Really low maintenance guy right here.
Look,
like,
if Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham can get back together, anyone can.
If Pam Anderson and Liam Neeson can start dating because they did Naked Gun together, anything is possible.
This is just the hopes and dreams of so many people being lived out right now.
Now, by the way, I take that back.
Beautiful unions.
Are they going to arrest him? Like Liam Neeson, because it's 15-year age gap. That's fucking disgusting.
Oh, Jesus. Well, how old is she?
So she, 50? I believe she's 57 and he's 72.
Oh my God.
She's just a fucking kid, man. Like this is fucked up. Like,
no, I didn't say, oh my God, in that, like, I mean, we've established once you reach a certain age, it just doesn't matter anymore.
What do you mean?
But he's 72?
Yeah. Yeah, he looks great for 72.
No, I mean,
forget how old Liam Neeson is. Yeah.
No, he's definitely looking great for his age. Certainly no intervention there. I'm assuming that's all natural.
Yeah.
So
it's because we'll leave that. I'll forget. I'll leave that one off.
So yeah, Pascal Siakam.
Great player.
Great player.
I feel like there's no other. I think he kind of has to be number one.
So there would be arguments, obviously, if we didn't have stricter rules on this episode.
Yeah, like I think I would have taken Brunson if he were available.
This would probably be Brunson, or if you want to make the argument of truest value, probably SGA, just because if you just think about it like this, SGA was the 11th pick in the draft, I think. To get an MVP, finals MVP scoring title guy who is very clearly already one of the 75 best players of all time, and to get him outside of the top 10, even if it was literally one pick outside the top 10.
Yeah.
I think he was the 11th or 12th pick, if I remember correctly. That's pretty fantastic. Like, I don't really think there's a ton of argument against it. Now, the argument would be Brunson's one of the top second round picks of all time, and it's harder to find guys in the second round, which no one would deny. But I do think a little bit of that, if we were doing that exercise, a little bit of that is like Brunson had so much pedigree, even though he got drafted in the second round, and SGA was always more of a long-term bet. Brunson's development curve is one of the more wild ones we've ever seen, where he went from like clear good NBA player to like, wow, this guy's an all-star, all NBA player. Whereas SGA had more of a normal track where it was like, by the end of his rookie contract, it was very obvious he was going to be a star. We talked about that at the end of his rookie contract on this podcast. But I think Siakam is number one with a bullet. I had him number one on my board. Number two, I'm going to go with Devin Booker. Okay. So once again, when you talk about once you get past your drafting strategy and my drafting strategy is different.
Okay.
But once you get outside of the top 10, like for example, Carter Bryant was just the 13th pick in this draft or 14th pick in this draft, right?
Yeah.
I have always viewed him as a little bit of a low upside, but very obvious NBA player. Mm-hmm. I'm fine with that pick when you get to that range. Like, sure. If you just get an NBA player at the end of the lottery, as long as they have a pathway to starter upside and they're not just like a clear bench player, like they're capped at backup big or six man or a role that you can find very easily in free agency or trades or whatever for second round picks. As long as that isn't the case, I think it's fine to go safer side once you're outside of the top 10 or 11, 12 in the draft. To get a player like Devin Booker at pick 13, who we've talked about in terms of why people didn't see it coming with him before the draft, mainly because he was on that stacked Kentucky team, mainly because he was seen as just a shooter. His most common like comp coming out of the draft, if I remember correctly, was like basically white shooters. They were like the best case scenario. He's like JJ Redick. And
I remember Kyle Korver comps.
Korver,
like, just in terms of like being a dead eye, you know.
I feel like
even
Jason,
though they don't.
I want to say Jason Capono was also on some. Like it was just the obvious like the kind of comps that you would get for like just someone who very clearly is only going to be a movement shooter in the NBA that doesn't provide a ton of other value. Having said that, it is, and we'll at some point this offseason, I think we're going to do a stream where we watch the 2015 draft, because that was the last one that we didn't watch when we went through our streams last offseason. But I would like to revisit this and what people were saying. In retrospect, I know it's obvious for me to say this now because it seems, look, we're in the future and Devin Booker's become an all-NBA, all-star level player, been to the finals, you know, just very clearly one of the 20 best players in the NBA. But it does seem weird that in 2015, we're coming off the first Warriors title, right?
Yeah.
It does seem kind of weird that they weren't like, we should draft this guy in the top 10 in retrospect.
Can I say what I think that was? I think this is what I think this is what is known as the Dion Waiters effect, where I think people were kind of scared, even though Dion Waiters was like a different type of player. Mm-hmm. I think people were worried about drafting guys who were like the fourth or worse guys on like stacked, like fourth on the depth chart. Now, Dion Waiters is obviously different because he came off the fucking bench for Syracuse and was drafted fourth. So that is like something that's like totally different. Sure. But I do remember that kind of.
What was he, the 2012 draft, Dion Waiters?
I think so.
All right, hold on. Keep going.
Yeah, I was gonna say was it the Tristan? Was it
2011 then? No, because they had two top.
The Tristan Thompson pick, I think. So
it was 2012. I was right.
Yep.
Fourth pick in 2012.
Okay. Yeah. 4th pick of the draft, which is like kind of crazy that guy who didn't start in college was.
Well, that can go a number of ways, right? Because we actually have a few examples of guys.
Well, Carter Bryant.
Well, I want to say guys. I don't even know how I categorize working out, but like Marvin Williams came off the bench in college and was a high pick. He probably was about the average outcome. I think he was the 4th or 5th pick of the draft. He's probably about the average outcome for that actual pick. If you look at it,
was it Marvin Williams too? Because he get drafted ahead of Chris Paul. I'm pretty sure in the 2003 draft.
You might be right. Hold on. That is insane.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you're right. He was 2002. Or I'm sorry, he was number 2 in 2005.
Because the problem was that like Marvin Williams actually like wasn't like a bad NBA player, but the fact was that he got drafted ahead of Chris Paul. Which
sure, he's that's the Sam Sheehan special.
But I wouldn't have drafted Chris. I wouldn't.
I was gonna say with the 2nd pick, I even think like we talked about it with VJ in this past draft, where you're like even like you still have to take the guy that you think has long-term upside if you're drafting in the top 3, right? Once you get to 4 through 8, whatever, like you can take a little bit more of like, I guess like Keegan Murray style picks where it's like, or Con Knipple, where it's like, you might view them as more like high level starters as opposed to all-star, all NBA players. But the back to the bench thing, Scotty Barnes came off the bench in college. So,
and was also drafted 4th. So
he was drafted 4th. And by the way, a lot of people at the time were like, well, he went to Florida State. He came off the bench. And look at how Patrick Williams did as a rookie. And that was like a positive because Patrick Williams wasn't terrible as a rookie. He was classic Patrick Williams where he didn't really affect the game a ton, but most wings suck. He at least showed some capability of like, he can shoot, he can defend. We'll build on this long term. And most players in his mold do become better. He just doesn't like basketball. So he very much did not. But I'm fairly certain that there are examples of guys that come off the bench that do well. But largely speaking, when guys come off the bench in college and you're drafting them really high, you're hoping that they are on loaded teams, right? Like,
yeah.
Scotty Barnes started 7 games that year. He played 25 minutes a game.
Yeah.
I think Devin Booker was the 6th man on that Kentucky team.
I think he was a starter, but he was like the 5th starter. Like he had the lowest role. Like I think he had the lowest usage of like anyone on the team. Like
was he? Hold on. I'm
look. I'm sure he was because it was the Harrison twins. I think what that team was the Harrison twins and
no, he didn't start.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like the Harrison twins would have started, which makes I
thought he played the 3 though. I thought he played the 3.
I think Andrew Harrison was a 2 in college. But either way,
no, you're right. He was.
And so Devin Booker would have come off the bench. Yeah, that's why he came.
But I think they played. I thought they played Devin Booker there. I have a lot of memories of Devin Booker like being in the corner. Like
Devin Booker played 21 minutes a game and started 0 games.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay,
yeah.
Never mind.
So
John Calipari, you will burn in hell.
So, the one thing that I actually saw a clip of Andrew Harrison the other day. He was on, it wasn't Jeff Teague's podcast. Oh, it was Theo Pinson's podcast.
Let's go.
I love that we have just so many random NBA guys that have former. Derek White started a podcast.
I was just say I fell to my knees when I saw that Derek was. I mean, I guess if you're gonna curse yourself, this is the season to do it.
Yeah, I mean it would be classic if he got the podcaster curse, but it helped you guys get AJ Dybansta.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's actually
of course
good.
It does.
Of course,
that's why when the Ben Simmons rumors popped up about you guys signing him, I was like, this can only go one of 2 ways. Either Ben revamps his career with Boston and then ends up being like a key piece for you guys, or he's so bad and you let him cook and then you get the 2nd pick of the draft.
I'm going to love Ben, dude, because he's going to be so fucking bad. Like he is going to detonate so many like bleeds that I'm going to be mad about. It's going to be awesome. Him and Hugo are
start? Would he start or would Niang? By the way,
if a power forward, he would start. If we actually signed him, he would probably start at least to.
Let's further the Niang Simmons beef. I don't know if you know that, but those two had a little beef because Niang signed here and then Ben Simmons didn't play. And Niang was basically like calling him out all the time. And then once he left the team, he was like shitting all over him. He was pandering to Sixers fans for sure. Like he was Niang was really good at knowing what the fans like wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's going to do it with Boston too, because he already started.
Yeah. He's already done it. Like, well, because everyone hated him coming in. Like, there's this weird. I like don't understand. I don't remember why. There was like some weird game, something that I don't remember, where he had some weird quote.
He probably got it with Jaylen Brown. That's my
guess. Or something. Like he had something where like everyone fucking hates him. I had never read it. I always thought he was kind of funny and like. I don't mind. Like everyone wanted to like run him out of town on a rail the second they traded for him, and like meanwhile, Kristaps is out there in the media going like, "Yeah, I had playoff sickness," and it's like everyone's like, "Thank you, Kristaps, we love you." Thank you.
Well, that was he said it. Niang said in that interview with Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem. Awesome that we have just even more former NBA players.
The Unk podcast.
Yeah, the Unk pod. Yeah. We're somehow not the Uncus NBA podcast because they exist.
Yeah.
But they said in that episode, he said, he was like, yeah, I know I'm from here, but that doesn't mean shit to these fans. They're going to be pissed because I'm replacing a unicorn in Porzingis. And I just thought of you because you were like, get the fuck out of here.
I'm good. No, Niang, dude. I love like loser players that come in here and like do good. I fucking loved Chris Humphries, dude. When Chris Humphries was on the Celtics, that was like my guy. Like
you're gonna love Niang because he's like what if Chris Humphries occasionally had a game where he hit like 7 threes and like
this is what I'm saying. These low stakes games. Dude, I was watching Jared Sullinger outlet passes came up on my TikTok the other day. God, that was real fucking hoops. He's hitting like Avery Bradley and Kelly Olynyk, Jay Crowder, and that was real fucking hoops.
I'm so glad that the podcast is getting more popular right before this Celtic season because we get to see the true Sam Sheehan.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I can't wait to go pervert mode a little bit. I'm gonna be so mad if they're good. I'm gonna be so mad if they're like a 48 win team,
a punchy like 16. 5 seed next year.
I'm gonna be so bad. Like, they're gonna like have home court, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, Jason Tatum's coming back."
Winning culture, baby.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, fuck you." Furious. Anyway, Devin Booker.
Booker, definitely. I mean, 3-time All-Star, first team All-NBA, made it to the finals, 13th pick in the draft. And by the way, I want to reward guys like the Siakam and the Booker picks because those are such bad areas and drafts.
Yeah. Yes.
2016 on the whole is a pretty good draft, but the area that they got Siakam is unbelievable that they came away with a player of that caliber. Same with Devin Booker in 2013, because if you look at all around him, after him, it's like if you re-rank the best players, which we will do when we do our 2015 rewatch, there's a debate between him and Towns at the top. I guess Towns is technically past him because Towns. We'll talk about that more when we get to the 2015 draft.
Okay, well, so I'm glad you brought that up because I just realized I might have misread your instructions because you said previous decade. I thought you meant 2015 to now. But it sounds like you meant 2010 to now, right?
What? Why are you saying this? We're talking about 2015.
Is it 2015? Is that Devin Booker's? No. Devin Booker was drafted. Oh, he was drafted in 2015. Okay, never mind.
Like, what are you talking about?
You said 2013, and that sounded right to me. So then I started panicking.
No.
Because I kind of remembered him being in the same draft as Klay Thompson for whatever reason. But then
Klay. Well, first off, Klay was 2011, so there's it's all
even worse.
Yeah. No. The reason why you say that is because he got some Klay comps during this cycle too.
Yeah,
and that was largely just light skinned shooter. Basically, they really are not like now. Look, in theory, if you want to stretch it, sure, like movement shooter who has some positional size, but like Klay's much bigger, was a better defender. And at that point was the full peak. That was when he started to peak as that archetype of player. And I mean, I did look back and that was some comps, but for him, but there's a debate between Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns, who's better player who had a better career. It's probably going to be Towns now that he's in New York and he's going to have more accolades and stuff like that. But to get one of the two best players in this draft at pick 13 when there's so many bad picks around it is like one of the only W's that they got during the Ryan McDonough era. Specifically when it came to drafting, he was so bad at drafting. For them to get this sliver of a W, it is still carrying them a decade later.
Yeah. Speaking of pick 13 shooting guards, still carrying. Now, obviously lower because he did change teams and because it was not as desolate of an area of the draft, but I'll get the other obvious one out of the way here in Donovan Mitchell, taking him third. I mean, what do you say? Like, we've talked about this, I feel like 4 or 5 times on the podcast that Mitchell's one of the all-time, was not what we thought he was going to be types of guys. Like he was going to be like a 3-and-D, wing stopper guy, had long arms, and then just turned into an offensive engine. Pretty much the instant he got in the NBA.
No. Summer league. That's dude. I went back and I looked at his summer league stats and I was like, this is literally the Michael Jordan of summer league. He was, dude, he had 8 steals and 35 points in a game. Jeez. I was like, it was unbelievable looking. And I know, I think we've brought this up before, but the fact that he said that once he learned how to jump off 1 foot, it literally just changed it because he was a 2-foot leaper for a while. And that apparently just changed everything for his ability to get downhill, get to the basket, which is such a funny thing to learn. But also, I know people get sick of hearing it because really how late to basketball was he? He wasn't necessarily late to basketball, but baseball was his primary sport. And I think he was 15 when he started playing legit basketball. And in 6 years, he was an all-star in the NBA, basically. He didn't make the all-star team his rookie season. And because he didn't start it was him, Ben Simmons, and Tatum were the rookies that year for Rookie of the Year. And Tatum was more of a role player, although by the end of the playoffs, everyone was arguing that he should have won. And because he leveled up in the playoffs and was a key part, arguably the best player on that conference finals team. But Mitchell was the best number 1 option of these guys, offensively at least. And then Ben was, shared it with Joel a little bit. But I mean, it is amazing to look back at his rookie tape and watch some of those highlights and be like, how the fuck was this guy this good instantly in the NBA? Now, some of the playmaking and efficiency stuff caught up later to him, where it was by the time he was done in Utah, it was he was basically becoming the player he is now, which is why I still put him this high. I had him third on my board too, even though I think the best version of himself has been on Cleveland. He was still an all-star, still a fringe all-NBA player on the Jazz, came in second for Rookie of the Year, got better every single season, and I know the playoff stuff has still kind of, not really lived up to the hype for his regular season production, but they won 50 plus games twice with him and Rudy. They were consistently a top 4 or 5 seed. They had a 1 seed 1 year. And I mean, look, I understand why they did what they did. We've talked about that a ton in terms of moving those guys, but it does feel really weird in retrospect. We even thought it was weird at the time that they were trading a 25-year-old who is very obviously one of the 20 best players in the NBA with potential to get even better and is probably now a top 10 player in the NBA. I mean, going into next season,
he's him, dude. He's turbo him. I really feel that way about him.
Going into next season with Mitchell, if you were to rank the players in the East, is he second? Because there's no Tatum, no Halliburton, no Embiid. Well,
it's behind Giannis. You can make the case some years. Tatum is usually number 2, but he's usually in that tier with Halliburton and Brunson. That's his tier.
Brunson too.
Yeah, that's his tier of those second team, third team All NBA guys. And Mitchell got first. He got first team one of these years, right? Was it last year?
It was first team. Yeah, he was first team this year.
Yeah.
Every time I look at him and Devin Booker's all NBA stuff, I'm always like, how have they only made it? I think Mitchell's only made it twice.
Yeah.
Which seems wrong.
Because he was in the West for so long. And it's just a fucking slaughterhouse to be a guard in the West. Like,
he was all first team this year, all second team in 2023, but he's made the last 6 all-star teams, including his last 3 years in Utah, 2020, 2021, and then 2022. Was traded that offseason, and I thought about it like this. If you rank the best players the Jazz drafted, where would he end? He would end up probably 3rd, probably Malone, Stockton, and then him, and then Gobert.
I might argue. I mean, I know Malone's like fake. He's the Michael Jordan of being fake good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand everything's like very overwhelming. Like, statistically, it's like a super overwhelming thing. But like,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's a popular thing to defend guys like Karl Malone this week. Our
guy Wemby.
Not our guy. Our guy Wemby is goated. More pieces of information I learned about Wemby, the more I like him.
Yeah, I was gonna say Wemby kind of finding his voice, because Wemby was starting to suffer from my reactionary thing, where reactionary, not politically, but reactionary in terms of
not Karl Malone,
not Karl Malone style, or
John Stockton
or Ron Harper. It's more of a but just like when everyone, because like everyone is like anointing Wemby again. Like everyone's talking about Wemby again the way they talked about Wemby last year, and it was like, great, Wemby's like awesome. He's awesome. I still don't think the team is like ready yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he'll probably like be on MVP ballots if he plays like 60 games for sure. But like, I don't know if we're like ready for that yet. I think we're still 1 year away. I think people are getting there early, but
I'm the opposite. Not with the Spurs, but with him. I said this, like, I think that the Spurs are going to be good in spite of their roster build next year. I've determined, and I've just determined that Wemby is turbo him, and that not only will he be on the MVP ballot, I think he has a legitimate chance to win MVP next year.
It is going to be a weird year, which is key.
Here's a question for you. Do you think Wemby has a potential to be a top 10 player of all time?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, then I don't think he will be a top 5 in MVP next year. Because if you look at history, 3rd year is when all of those guys, it's like every single player, LeBron, every guy that becomes a top 10 player of all time makes a pretty massive leap in their 3rd season, with the outlier probably being Steph because of the injuries. And like, now look, Jokic, it took some time, but like he started to become him in year 3, and Jokic always had a little bit of doubt. People had doubt in their mind about Jokic because of all of the concerns that we had about bigs at the time in the spacing era, and then combine that with the fact that he was a 2nd round pick. So it wasn't like we have the draft pick bias in both directions, where if you're a 2nd round pick, we don't value you quite as much. But like the per minute and like advanced stuff pretty much said that he was an MVP candidate in his 3rd season.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's possible. I do think that like, I think he would definitely, I think I might pick him as like not a favorite, but like a pretty good dark horse if he played in the East. I do think that like the fact that he is in the conference with Jokic and with SGA, like, I just think the roster build is going to like hold him back too much. He's going to be he's going to, like, he'll be 1st team all NBA. Like that. I'm like, if he's healthy, I'm pretty sure. But like, I just, this might be the year, like he and Giannis, I feel like it might come down to like him or Giannis for like the last forward, like front court spot. Like, and it's going to kind of depend on like what's going on there, eye of the beholder stuff.
Yeah.
Or people just put 3 bigs and, maybe that just fucking happens. But
I mean, I'm just to the point with Wemby is like, normally it's with injury and weird circumstances being kind of having some outliers in that regard, the large majority of the time when it's like a GOAT candidate guy, third season is where they go from like, wow, this guy's really good to like, oh my God, this is a generational basketball player. And I do think
I feel like he's kind of already like he's already there in terms of like I can see that happening, but just like he hasn't been healthy and like
but there are levels to it. Like you wouldn't argue that Wemby was one of the 5 best players in the NBA last year. You could argue he's one of the 5 best players in the NBA if he takes another leap next season, and arguably that leap usually goes from like top 10 player to like top 3 player for this caliber of prospect and player is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard. It's hard. I'm such a playoff pervert where like if you have like a good playoffs, you like totally change. Like so I kind of like have to see like when like no matter how good I think he is, I do kind of have to see like Wemby in the playoffs. But like Halliburton, I was always a Halliburton skeptic for like years and years, and now I'm like, nope, he's him. He's the most him that there's ever been. Like,
well, we're also Wemby. It's very similar to the Jokic stuff when we talk about how Jokic fans can't take any sort of criticism about him, and it's like you need to understand you're in a different echelon now. Like the players you are being compared to are a different caliber of player, which is why I'm fine with you saying that, because I think that like I'm not saying, well, Wemby, if I'm comparing him to other players that are like very good players or like elite players, but not like MVP candidates in their third season, top 10 all time guys. Yeah. That's where the level of your play goes up. The level of the microscope also zooms in on you and starts to pick apart whatever. And I think that's fair, to be clear. Like I think that's what comes with the territory of being one of the best basketball players.
Yeah. I just think we're a year away from him like catching Jokic.
I don't know if he'll necessarily catch Jokic. I'm not saying he's the best player in the league, but I'm saying that if you told me next year the 3 best players in the league were Jokic, SGA, or Giannis and him, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah,
that's where I'll leave it.
I think it's a pretty good bet he'll make if he stays healthy, because that's really what you're betting on there, that he'll make first team All NBA. Especially with the way people want to vote. We applied this logic to defensive player of the year. We would have nailed that bet if the blood clots didn't happen. Like,
absolutely. And also king of the cool zone right now.
Yeah.
All on and off the court.
Yeah, off the court especially.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about him. Like you
didn't know that Wemby's going to take the great leap forward?
I did not know Wemby was taking the great leap forward. I didn't know that Wemby is the pedo hunters from Pipe Rock Theory. Sorry, I did that right when Joel took a sip of water.
I almost spit it all over myself. By the way, I watched. Have you watched the?
I've got to watch Rap
movie?
World. I've got to watch Rap World, dude. I know I'm gonna love it. Like
I watched it on YouTube the other day. As someone who went to college in 2009, yes, you can get your unk jokes out of the way. Went to college in 2009 in central Pennsylvania. I felt like I was watching a documentary. Like it was so accurate to. I literally tweeted and I said I can say that it's officially. No movie has ever captured a time period or a moment like that movie. And it's only an hour long. It's on YouTube for free. Go watch Rap World. It is so fucking funny. And he's
awesome. Connor O'Malley is so good.
He is the comedian of this time. I think I quote tweeted someone who said that, which is he's the only one that can. This was the tweet, which was so perfect. He said, Connor O'Malley is the best doing it right now because he understands the average male psyche is defined by a handful of ideas, including Eminem, Simpsons porn, The Dark Knight, Bitcoin, Tom Clancy likes, The Matrix, Instagram reels about cars and or guns. And I was like, yes, that's literally, that's exactly why he's one of the greats.
God, he's been doing it for so long. He's so goated, man. Like since I was in college when the Vines were so
the first
good.
time I saw a Connor O'Malley Vine was 2013 when he would just run up to rich people in their like Ferraris in New York and be like, "Hell yeah, pimp!
Hell yeah, pimp! Enriching the upper classes, pimp."
Very ahead of his time.
Yeah. The one of him on the lawnmower with the revolver.
Have the power of
God. Then he pointed at a cop car. You can't do that these days.
No, woke has killed that.
Woke has killed it. Yeah.
So okay.
Donovan Mitchell, but
yeah, no, wrap up Donovan Mitchell.
I think Donovan Mitchell like has largely it's very funny that like I feel a lot better about Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert than I did at the end of their tenure on the Jazz. I think they've both kind of lightly beat the allegations. Like Rudy, obviously to a much lesser extent, but like we were really dogging him, or at least I was. Like, and he's like fine. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like not as a guy, but like as a player, he's like fine.
Well, this goes back to my theory.
Yeah.
You can only have one player with loser energy on your team at a given time. You max out at one. So
do you think Donovan Mitchell has loser energy?
Young Donovan Mitchell did. He was a little whiny. He was a little like whatever. I think he's cooler now. I think he's chilled out over time. Yeah. I think young Donovan, and maybe this is just because of the Ben Simmons beef, which is funny because Ben is very obviously on the other side of the spectrum now.
Don't want to get would I get it a loser off in my opinion?
Yeah, exactly.
Is Ben Simmons? Yeah,
but it felt very like lame. He felt lame early in his career, is what I'm going to say. And I feel maybe that also part of that was him playing in Utah.
Yes,
maybe that was part of it.
Out. They're going to send you some rocks.
That's fine.
They're gonna send you. Oh yeah, Utah's lame. What do you think of this? Rocks.
Yep.
This is what I look at every day. Rocks.
Oh, the pictures.
Yeah. Oh, Utah sucks, huh? How do you explain this?
Beautiful
rocks. I guess. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Owned by rocks.
Owned by rocks.
Cool.
You know what I do when I'm having a good time? Not get hit up by my buddy's wife for a multi-level marketing scheme is something I do where I live. That like never happens to me.
Tune into the next season of Mormon Wives of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
You know what though? They are flexing on me though. So Sam, 0 wives.
True.
Mormon guys.
Many
wives.
Collecting.
You get one wife.
You can't even get one, dude.
By the way, if you get your big go card, that's a millennial TV reference. Sneaking get a new girl reference here thing. So that's points.
Sorry, I have many people have told me that I'm just like Nick. So,
me too. Was that just something that girls just said to you, like when you were like traditionally handsome, like
there are specific personality wise, people just say that I am very Nick Miller coded. Lauren has said it. Many people have said it to me, but also I've done specific things that Nick Miller has literally done on the show, and I'm too embarrassed to say it.
I'll tell you right now that I've never felt more seen in a thing when somebody asks me, "How you doing, Nick?" It's like, pretty good. Watched some TV, found $1 on the couch, bought a slice of pizza, one day closer to death. That was me basically my entire 20s. Yeah, I was gonna say that was me like age like 21 to like 26. That was like absolutely my mantra.
Very relatable. Yeah. What was I gonna say? What did the comments always say that you look like Austin Reeves or Aaron Rodgers?
God,
they say that those are the two. Those are the two. Who do I get?
I have a Grok wife.
Oh, I got Con Knipple, which I knew I was going to get eventually.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to get it eventually because when I was like 12, I looked like Con. I don't think I look like Con anymore, but there's definitely a younger Trill resemblance for sure.
I could see that. It. When you post the pictures of you from like 2012, I definitely see like the Con.
There's a little bit of a resemblance.
I just quick sideshow. So Aaron Rodgers is married to an AI, right? Like, well, the plot of Her is happening to him right now, but it's Grok. It's racist Grok.
Well, she just goes to another school, dude. You don't get it. For anyone who missed this, Aaron Rodgers was like, "Yeah, I love my secret wife.
My secret wife.
She's so good.
NFL secret wife account. Yeah. Aaron, it's me, your wife. Send me $300. I don't even know who she is. Aaron,
it makes it more romantic in a way.
Own Anthony Fauci by sending me $5,000 right now. If you don't get an injection for long enough, you can hallucinate your wife.
Incredible.
He's
Oh my
awesome,
God.
dude. I've never, dude, he's like an all-time great NFL quarterback, and it's just what is it with NFL quarterbacks and being like enormous losers? Like, it's kind of crazy how often they like, in spite of tremendous success, they like
physical and mental gifts.
it's like Brett Favre, tremendous loser. Like,
what are we going to find out about Jordan Love in a few years?
it's gonna be like crazy. I mean, like,
Isn't
even
he-
Tom Brady is the GOAT and is like divorced, which is so funny. Like,
Well, yeah, but he's living his best life now, dude. Tom Brady is
Is
also a robot. Well, wasn't he dating Sofia Vergara or something? Wasn't that?
yeah, but like, we'll see. I don't know. Tom Brady has like Tom Cruise energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Where like
yeah.
something is like everything he's doing is like technically cool, but like there's like some sort of like
robotic.
There's like a dark desperation underneath
The way
all
he
of it.
eats
Like,
popcorn.
yeah.
And he like goes like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
and everyone always talks about, man, I love Tom Cruise and Tom Brady. And I'm like, well, it's because they're sociopaths, but they're sociopaths who have realized how to mimic like the normal human experience.
Yeah, they've worn the skin mask.
Yes,
flesh.
exactly.
Yeah.
The one of like I got like literally chills to the bone one time when I watched a clip of Tom Brady talking about watching film during the off season, and he was literally just sitting in front of his computer and he's like, I could watch this for hours. I'm probably gonna watch this for like 5 or 6 straight hours. And it was like August, like June. And I was like, go enjoy your life, dude. Nope.
He done
this is it.
everything. He done he like you
this was after he won like four or five Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's like you are the undisputed like greatest of all time, and you are at the top. I guess that's the thing. Alexander watched tape for There Were No More Lands to Conquer.
Yeah. It's absolute complete psycho. But anyway, next pick. Now we're up to 50 minutes in.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with J-Dub. I put him on the
I was gonna shock everyone taking. I had him for. I think our board has been identical, by the way. So far.
Okay. So what is up with the 13th pick?
It's crazy.
Like 3 of the players we've taken so far were exactly at 13.
I wish Danger Cart still did his draft value like card thing where he like charted like pick value, like. And one of the funniest things is that third is like more valuable than second.
Sure.
Because of like just all the busts that have been at 2. But I wonder if like we've had enough 13s now.
Future with that. Anyway, continue.
I wonder if like pick 13 is now like the 9th most valuable pick because of this. Like of how many hits.
It's gotta be. We literally just named 3 players who have made all NBA teams that were taken 2015, 2017, 2022.
I think Jaylen Williams was 12 though, I believe.
Oh, no. I thought Ousmane Dieng was 12.
I think Ousmane Dieng was 11. Johnny Davis was 10. I think Jalen Duren's 13.
I was off by 1 pick. Well, Jalen Duren's still good, but
he is good.
But for 13, but man, okay, so 12. Okay, 12. Which SGA was 11, I think. So I guess he was 1 pick off. That range 11 to 13, returning some serious value. Halliburton was also in this range.
Yep.
That 11 through 13 value, I guarantee you, if you were to do a chart like that, that is probably a higher, better outcome than like 7 through 9.
Yes.
Just based on the last decade, right?
Yes.
Because I just named an MVP, 4 All-NBA players in this range, and that's probably 30 picks, and you get 5 or 6 of those guys are All-NBA. That's pretty fucking good. So J-Dub, we talked plenty about J-Dub on this podcast. Sam gave him his flowers finally, would have taken him here. The thing about J-Dub, and I've talked about this, like, he'll probably be added to the late bloomer / what people call outlier development category in terms of wasn't even really that guy until his last year in college.
Yeah. Was
21 as a rookie and is now 24, max contract, second best player on a championship team, made all NBA this year. And I've said this before, one of the crazier one of the crazier like what they were in college to what they are in the NBA stories in terms of like he was supposed to be a shooting guard and he is now sometimes he has played the center position in the NBA, which is freakish.
That's crazy, yeah.
And he's can be a 4. He is basically
He played predominantly at the 4, I would say.
I would say 3 or the 4 this year. Yeah. And he is pretty much the Swiss Army knife 2 through 4 that everyone is looking for in the NBA nowadays. Really a shocker. I liked him in the draft. If you go back and you remember that draft cycle, I was like, I would love for the Sixers to take this guy with the 23rd pick in the draft. Like, I was not like, he has to go in the lottery. I don't
think anyone was like that. I think it was kind of seen as like a reach. You know what I'm saying?
Chuck and Maxwell and a few draft Twitter people had him.
The draft perverts did, yes, yeah.
A few people had him lottery, and mainly during the cycle, he was thought of as like a top 20, 25 guy. Like late first round, maybe even early second. Then he crushed the combine game, and people started to wake up. It's kind of, I would say it's a similar track to Cedric Howard, but he played basketball. like Cedric Howard has still not played basketball in almost a year, did not play at the combine, did not play in summer league. But J-Dub is another guy that instantly, when I have tweets from summer league where I was like, this guy is going to be amazing. Like, I found them when they won the finals. I found my pre-draft tweets about me wanting him on the Sixers because he had a trust the process tattoo. Which
did he really?
He did. Yeah.
That's very funny.
And I remember finding, actually, funny enough, the photo I found of him with the trust the process tattoo from pre-draft that I just saw, because I did the Charlie Kelly at the whiteboard with his trust the process tattoo. It was him and his brother Cody actually sitting, and they were sitting down, and you could see it. But yeah, long story short on this, J-Dub at the time, I remember my evaluation when I was drunk on draft night was I like Jaylen Williams, but he has what I call bus face, where he looks like a player who looks like a player that would just not really flourish in the NBA. And that was a horrible analysis because he's exceeded everyone's expectations. Similarly to Donovan Mitchell, was pretty instantly good in the NBA. Like, it wasn't this Devin Booker's Pascal Siakam where it took a few years to find their footing.
It was basically by like January of his rookie year, he was like good.
He was very obviously one of the top 2 players from the draft class with him and Paulo.
Yeah.
And Paulo won rookie of the year because I remember this from his rookie season. He had like a 50% free throw rate as a rookie. And I was like, this is breaking my brain how good this is. But J-Dub, once again, instantly one of the 2 or 3 best players from that draft class. And now there's an argument that he could be the best player from that draft class moving forward. So to get that guy at pick 12, insane value. And honestly, not a great draft. 2022, not great. Like, I don't think it's like actively bad, and there's always guys who pop later. So I don't want to like put this in writing. But there's a lot of busts in this draft already. Like, you just talked about Johnny Davis and Ousmane Dieng in this range. We just saw Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley get salary dumped to the Wizards. Dalen Terry was in this range. There's a lot of guys. End of the first was just landmines after the Christian Braun Walker Kessler pick. I mean, you had plenty of bad picks all over, and they were pretty instantly, like, obviously not NBA players, which is rare. So yeah, great work by OKC to come away with one of the clear best players in this draft when it was, and also funny wrinkle to bring it back to the Donovan Mitchell thing. I know for a fact the reason why OKC traded up to get Ousmane Dieng and then draft Jaylen Williams was because the Cavs were interested and they were going to take Jaylen Williams at 14. They ended up taking Ochai Agbaji instead, and he was included in the Donovan Mitchell trade. But that could have been Jaylen Williams.
It's a really good, honestly, really good work from the Thunder, and this turned into a really good draft for them to get a player of his caliber after you have, 2 other swings and misses.
Well, we talked about, I did a TikTok on the best drafts for one team, and I still think getting Luka and Brunson is it's so funny that neither of those guys are on the Mavericks anymore, but still, like, just getting both of those guys in the same draft is like, there's never been a draft where you draft two top 10 players in the same draft, or top 12, whatever Brunson.
Yeah,
whatever
you draft two guys who made multiple All NBA teams in the same draft. Like,
there's like such a short list of that, and I think I had Chet and J-Dub as my fourth best, and I had Siakam and Pirtle / Fred VanVleet undrafted at third.
You like Jaylen Williams that much?
All right,
just kind of like
stay
put him
tuned
in there with like an NPC. Like,
by the way, now that we're past the top picks here, I want to throw this out there. I think it's okay to include undrafted guys.
Okay.
Because I think this would have been my order anyway.
I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised. I think it's the correct pick, but I am a little surprised you're going to make me pick Maxey here.
So I didn't have Maxey next on my list.
Really?
But
interesting.
But with the caveat that undrafted players are okay.
So, who's the undrafted player I'm forgetting here?
Fred VanVleet. Here's the thing.
You would rather have, I don't know.
No. That's not what I'm saying. We're talking value.
Value?
Undrafted players are almost always bad. I understand that once you get to 2021, think about it like this. These are the players that I love Tyrese Maxey with all my heart. Maxey was 21. Bane was 30. Jaden McDaniels was 25. There were good players left on the board. So it's not like that draft class. Go look at the 2016 draft class. The undrafted class is like nobody's. I think the second best guy, I think Daniel Tice was 2013. There's like one other NBA player, and he was like a bit player that was in the 2016 undrafted class. And they got Fred VanVleet, who made an all-star team for them and was the sixth man on their championship team.
I'll run down the 2016 undrafted guys. Alex Caruso.
Okay, that's
Dorian Finney-Smith.
Oh, wow. This is a great undrafted class. I was wrong.
Then it gets a little rough. It's like Daniel House.
Yeah.
Gary Payton II. David Nwaba.
Overrated ass player. I'm sorry. Enough of Gary Payton II. He had 3 seasons in the NBA where he was an impactful player and he never played more than 16 minutes per game. I'm not falling for the Warriors fans' propaganda.
Yeah. Did I say Derek Jones Jr. was the other one?
That's literally a stacked undrafted class. So
yeah,
maybe you do have an argument here then.
Yeah.
That Maxey is better than Fred VanVleet.
Because I just think Maxey is like substantially better. Like he's a substantially better player who's got a higher upside ceiling. I get what you're saying that like if you don't take Maxey, like there's a chance like the value proposition is as such. But I'm still going to take.
I think we would. To be clear, I think if Maxey was off the board or if we passed on Maxey, we would have drafted Desmond Bane.
Yeah, probably.
But the only reason I say that is because he was the calculator rat guy in that draft. He was, and Daryl was still fine with taking 4-year players if they were hyper productive and you were at the end of the first round. So my guess is that we would have taken Bane there.
Dog, I can't I really feel like I can just visualize Desmond Bane wearing a Boston Celtics hat. Like when he was drafted, I feel like I can almost see that draft. It's almost real to me how much I can visualize it. Do we need to talk about Maxey? This is the Maxey Better Sadly podcast. I mean, I'll run a clear out for you. But
so there's been a lot of pushback from brain rotted Zoomer Sixers fans about Maxey over the last year. I do just want to remind everyone that Maxey struggled a lot out of the gate this season, and there was definitely cause for concern with him. But after his slow start, and once they had like somewhat of a normal team around him, not like the corpse of Andre Drummond and Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry as like ancillary pieces, he had a stretch of 30 games this season that is up there with pretty much the best young guards in the NBA. And I still think the thing with Maxey is, I talked about this a little bit recently, but if he comes back next year and figures out the pull-up 3-point, because he's a great pull-up mid-range shooter, he's still got a little bit of the floater game, and he is a elite catch and shoot guy. If he can ever figure out how to extend that range to 3 as a pull-up shooter, I still think there's a pathway for him to be like a Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell level player. And I think that him having a little bit of a weird year because the Sixers had their disaster year makes people forget that he really had one of the, as I joked during the season, this is my comeuppance for consistently trashing Cade Cunningham for having, while being in a bad context. And then my favorite player on my favorite team has it for a year. And I'm like, it's not fair. It's not his fault. But I do genuinely, I think one of the things that I've learned is that unless you are literally an MVP candidate, there has to be a semblance of normalcy around you for you to be a good, effective, NBA. There are about 6 or 7 guys in the NBA that can overcome circumstances as bad as Maxey had last year. And I think that going into next season, the hope should be that he is a legitimate all NBA level player. And if not, then his career looks different. But I think that there's a chance that he's, a third team all NBA guy next year, if not second team.
To your point, it's my guy. I love him. I love him to death. You can go ahead and skip Jaylen Brown on some of the efficiency stats for your fantasy team this year.
Sure. Yeah, like
it's going to be pretty rough.
Jaylen's honestly an interesting analog for Maxey because they both top out as like probably second best guys on championship teams, but will have moments when your best player doesn't have it, where they can, as we saw with Maxey at times with Joel and with Jaylen with Tatum during that run, that when their best players don't have it, they can fill it up as scorers and as guys that you can run offense through. So, but once again, this is I want to do a make or break year draft.
Okay.
For players later in the offseason.
Okay.
And Maxey's definitely one of the make or break guys. And it's not that Maxey isn't going to still be, one of the 40 best players in the NBA or 30 best players, 35, whatever.
If he's going to be a perennial all NBA guy.
That's what I mean. Is he going to be all NBA? Is he going to be all-star? This is the make or break. And this is what defines players from solid, good careers, one-time all-stars, two-time all-stars to Hall of Fame heights. And this is the make or break year for him.
Yeah. Is he going to be De'Aaron Fox or is he going to be Donovan Mitchell?
Basically, that's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah. Like it's the castle thing. Yeah. By the way, I need to get this off my chest because I read it and it's been breaking my brain ever since. Do you know what national team Jeremy Sohan plays for?
Poland?
It is Poland. How did you know that?
Well, first off, I know everything. Okay. Second off, I knew that because I knew that he was Polish, and also I knew he's born in England, if I remember correctly.
Yes, because I thought it was England. I thought it was England because I knew he was born in England. I didn't realize his mother's Polish.
Yeah, so and also a little bit of a cheat code. One of VJ's best games in the Olympic qualifiers was against Poland, and Jeremy Sohan was their best player. So I watched that game and was like, oh, VJ Edgecombe's him. If you go to the YouTube comment section, I'm the first comment on there for that game. YouTube from the Unoball account.
That's awesome. Well, now I'm gonna how many dribbles does it take to screw in a light bulb? Back for the Spurs.
Funny enough, his best attribute is being a high field player.
Yeah,
that's it is very funny that the best Polish player is like
it's high
smart.
field. Yeah. Screen door.
Pod's not as much, No,
poor Pod.
Pod's is,
But Pods has feel. He has bozo mode at the same time.
Exactly.
Which is that's the Robert Williams thing where I was like trying to explain to someone that like high feel and bozo mode are separate things. You can do both.
Very thin line.
Well, it's not even a thin line. It's just that like you could be a super high field player who just is prone to going bozo mode. Mm-hmm. Tyrese Halliburton doesn't do it as much, but he has like times. Tyrese Halliburton has like every once in a while has a bozo mode game or two in his bag.
Chris Paul even
yes.
like I'm not. Chris Paul never goes full bozo mode where it's like, what are you doing? Because Chris Paul is still one of the smartest players of all time. Yeah, but Chris Paul has at least a meltdown setting that like most high field players do not have. But then again, that's also might just be like performance stuff. Like I guess I shouldn't categorize it as bozo mode because like Chris Paul isn't throwing it like 10 rows into the stands and like falling over himself. Like as much as I love him, Tari is like a bozo mode player. You know what I mean?
I guess the god of this is Ben Simmons, who is
a
really high field player, but also the god of bozo mode, the demigod.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So you went Maxey. I'll go VanVleet because I'm counting the undrafted players here. Fred VanVleet. I mean, I just talked about it. Made an all-star team with the Raptors. Probably should have got. Probably, if they had traded him at the right time, would have gotten them real value back. I know that the league isn't super high on small point guards that are. He's more of a point guard. He is combo-ish, but he's a legit defender. Like I said, they do not win the championship if he doesn't go absolutely insane in the conference finals and the finals that year. And then add in the fact that he was an undrafted player, even though that class was kind of stacked, as you pointed out, undrafted wise. He's very clearly the best player of that whole group and went from, being a fringe rotation player to key six man to starter to all-star team. Never made an all-NBA, but at least had an argument for that one season. And has clearly been one of the 50 best players in the NBA going on 6-7 years now, probably 5 years, I should say. One of the 50, 60 best players in the NBA. And like, honestly, considering everything that was kind of against him, height wise, athleticism wise, he has maxed out. If you want to talk about maxing out your skill set, like we just talked about Chris Paul. Chris Paul is a basketball genius, and when he was younger, was an athletic freak. Like, even with being small, I think that there's an argument that Fred VanVleet did the most with the least of literally so many players.
It's like him, Isaiah Thomas, the more recent one, Steph and Jaylen Brunson are like all the guys who didn't have unbelievable tools in like a bunch of ways. Yeah.
No, absolutely insane career considering that he was undrafted. So all right, you're up next then, because I went Fred VanVleet.
And
they'll and the Dutch will yell at me in the comments again for butchering his name, as I always do.
Is that they get mad at you for that one? They don't like that?
Oh yeah, there are people from Amsterdam that hate that I butcher that.
So this is where the board kind of opens up, and there's some different ways to go. There's some different options to look at. I really don't want to take this guy. I probably should. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna make you do it.
I have him on my list. God, our list is like identical, dude. Because I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, and I really don't want to do that. I want to do a fun one.
Okay.
Let's talk about Jaylen Johnson.
I had him a little bit further on my list, but let's talk about him.
Yes. I'm reaching a little here because I want to talk about him. Here's the thing. So not picked like unbelievably deep. I think he was 20.
He was 20.
20, if I remember correctly.
I know he was 20 because I was like, man, the 21st pick, Rondo, Maxey, Jaylen. Oh, never mind. He was 20. That fucks up my whole 20, just like I did with the 13th pick a few minutes ago.
Yeah. So 20. Here's the thing. We also this is a little bit of a reach because Jaylen Johnson just hasn't quite been good. Like he's a little bit if man. We go with a little bit of Justin Herbert to Jaylen Johnson. Like he hasn't actually been good.
He splashes over high level production so far.
Yes. Mostly that's injuries. Now that said, I think Jaylen Johnson's gonna be make 3 or 4 all-star teams in his career. Probably is I would say a pretty median outcome for that.
I don't know if median, but yeah.
Dog, the forwards are a travesty though.
So little spoiler, we're going on Saturday Slam and Jam later in the week to talk about first-time All-Stars potentially. And he was certainly someone that immediately came in my head because of exactly what you're describing.
Yeah.
The forwards in the East specifically next year are pretty brutal with no Tatum. And that was already one of the weaker crops of positional players for the All-Star game. Because
and the other thing is that like some of these forwards are like getting to the end of their life cycle. Like Giannis will probably not be on the Bucks in the next like 3 years, and they're probably not going to trade him in the conference. If the Celtics do a harder reset, Jaylen Brown is going to be going somewhere, and it probably will not be in the conference. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think that he's pretty well positioned to, and he could be better. You know what I'm saying? He could also just straight up earn this, you know, but
there are some
even
cheat codes here, though, with the double
Yeah.
bigs coming back. You could just say Mobley's a forward.
Yeah, I guess.
Even though we all know Mobley's a big.
Yes.
But in general, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
The thing maybe why we overrate Jaylen Johnson a little bit is because he is just the ideal kind of player that everyone is looking for.
Yes.
In terms of a 4 that can defend, a 4 that can run in transition, a 4 that is passable to basically every offensive skill. But doesn't necessarily have like, he's kind of like a diet Ben Simmons, to be honest. Like that was the comp that he had coming out was Ben Simmons, but he's not quite the level of athlete and high feel that Ben was.
Yeah.
But he's still very good. The thing that he needs to get better at, playing without Trey, which I think he'll probably be a little bit better at that this year as the team is a little bit more normal. And 2, just being better in the half court in general. He's a bit of a transition merchant. But they have a stretch big now. If Porzingis can stay healthy, if he can, I think for those games, because we'll talk about the Hawks a lot this offseason, because I think they're going to be like a darling team for a lot of people next year.
Yeah.
But I think that if they have a lineup, if their starting lineup is Johnson at the 4, Trey at the 1, Porzingis at the 5, and then just Richeche at the 3, and then who would even be there 2? I don't know. I'm forgetting someone. There's someone they could start at the 2 that is, Dyson Daniels.
Dyson Daniels, yeah.
I have a feeling that net rating is going to be like off the fucking charts. I have a feeling they're going to be like a plus 15 to plus 18 per 100 possessions. That unit's going to be dominant, and it's going to be all come down to how do they look, just like it does every year. How do they look without Trey on the court? And Jaylen is probably their best chance of surviving the non-Trey minutes. But to this point in his career, it's been kind of ugly in the non-Trey minutes in games. And Trey at this point is built in to miss 15 to 25 games a year. And I think that I'm not going to take him in the make or break it draft, but he's fringe. I will say that much.
Next 2 years.
Yeah.
If it's not this year, it's definitely next year. He's got to,
because he's 23, right?
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right to me.
I think he's 23, and I will say this much. So he's 23. He'll turn 24 during the season. I'm giving him a little bit of grace just because most wings are bad until they're like mid-20s, and he's pretty good. And I think he has potential to become the problem with the 20. And by the way, should have never fell to 20. Like that was probably absurd. That was a bit of boomerism from everyone because he got into it with Coach K and he left Duke early, and he was a high pedigree. He was projected to be a top 5 or 6 pick in this draft at one point. He fell down the boards because of that weirdness, and then ended up going to Atlanta. And like, this draft is so strong that you can't really make the argument that he's like one of the 3 best players from it right now. But there's a world where he ends up if he continues to grow and progress and becomes a good half-court offensive player, there's a world where he returns like top 3 or 4 value in this draft. And then you just got one of the 3 or 4 best players with the 20th pick at a premium position.
Yes.
That's absolutely why.
That's what I'm separating when we're talking about value, because that the exercise is value. You know what I'm saying? I just think you get, like, how many times do we see teams draft like RJ Barrett or someone like that trying to like get this guy? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it just it is like the number one thing. It's been the Celtics. It's been the Celtics cheat code this entire run. It's just they have 2 of these guys, and that's just such a fucking like it's such a cheat code that like the Cavs, no matter how good they are, how the quality they are at pretty much every position besides the wing, it does usually kind of come back to bite them in the ass a little bit because they don't have, like, DeAndre Hunter is not the, so Karis LeVert are not the solution. You know? Yeah. So
by the way, I do just want to point out, this is, well, I might take Trey in the make or break it draft, to be honest with you, because this could not be set up more perfectly for Trey to have like an all NBA, like top 12 guy in the league level season. To have, I literally can't think of a team. I guess if I were building a team, obviously Porzingis would be more available in general, and I would imagine they're not going to want to run a ton of lobs for Porzingis considering his health history. But if I were building a team, if Dyson Daniels can somehow become like a 40% spot up guy, that is basically the perfect team to put around Trey. Like 2 big wings, one who's like right now, Jaylen Johnson's like a legit defender. Richiche in time, we think we'll get there. Dyson Daniels, who's one of the best point of attack overall defenders in the NBA. And a bunch of play finishers and guys who can make connective plays on offense with a stretch 5. Sounds pretty fantastic. If it doesn't work, then there should be alarm bells going off, I think.
Yeah. I think they will. I think if this doesn't work, I think they try to move on to Trey.
Reset.
Once everyone's, I think it's very specifically Trey. I think it's Trey is the next move if this doesn't work.
Well, that, by the way, that's the thing. I don't know if you know this. You know Trey's a free agent next summer?
I didn't know that.
They have not come to an extension, and he has a player option next year. By the way, I'm just throwing this out there. I would be all over that if I were the Washington Wizards. I know he's not like their mold of guy, but they have $100 million in cap space next summer. Trey takes you from like plucky young fun team. And by the way, they'll get another top pick next draft.
Can I say something?
They could go from like plucky young fun team to like legit playoff team if they got him.
In the scale of Trae Young is a locker room cancer who actively sabotages your team to he's a bucket and a problem and he can do no wrong. I've generally skewed toward the latter. Like I've been kind of a Trae defender. What would be different about a Washington Wizards team from his current Hawks team if this Hawks team doesn't work?
Well, there's nothing, but also if this Atlanta team works, I don't know if I still don't know if they're comfortable giving him that full max. And that money is so much fucking, because it's the super max.
Yeah, they shouldn't give him the super max.
This is what I'm saying, is that if it's kind of like the Paul George thing with the Sixers.
I don't even know if they should give him the max, to be honest. In this,
okay, so this
you can't. You're going to lose him at that point.
But if you're the Wizards, who gives a fuck? Is my point. Like to me, like, and once again, if they want to take it slow, if they want to do the full rebuild thing, and maybe Trey Johnson's their guy, and they say, "Sorry, Trey is too good. We don't want other Trey."
Yeah, and
we don't think these two can be a passable defense because of their limitations.
They can't. That would be.
You're almost certainly correct.
Yeah.
I also think that we're thinking with contender brain and championship, that offense would be pretty fucking dynamic.
Yeah,
and their whole thing has been building out positional defensive size in the front court. So like the combination of those two plus a bunch of rangy, like defensively tilted wings and like, I'm sorry, like you're the Washington Wizards, like making the playoffs and having a chance is more like in line with what your goals should be than like we have to win the NBA finals.
This is something like I should be on board with, but for some reason I'm very. This is
why I know that deep down you're not really a Trey guy, because if you were, you would be like, yeah, I love the Wizards and I love Trey. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I think I am kind of just I'm defending Trey cynically just because the people I don't like Trey. So
because I go too hard on him, so you have to go the opposite.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. You're pretty fair on him. I'm talking about like the boomers.
Yeah,
the Bills and Basillas.
I went boomer mode with Trey because I watched him not box out Davion Mitchell in the play-in game, and it is seared into my mind. They would have won that game if he had just boxed him out, and they didn't. And then Miami got another chance, and they hit a dagger 3. They were down like 1 when that happened, and there was like 30-something seconds left, and I was like, I went full boomer mode. I was like, that was such a loser play by him to not box out. And I mean, that's another one of your guys, Davion. Maybe I was just doubting Demon Davion.
Yeah. Star in plain sight.
Is he on this list, by the way? All right. Anyway, all right. I'll take the guy you didn't want to take, Bam Adebayo.
Oh, that is not who I was talking about.
Oh,
You know what though?
Bam should have went higher.
Yeah, Bam should have went high. I'm just the contract
pick.
stuff is so bad.
But it doesn't matter because he's been the second best player on 2 finals teams.
Yeah,
made an All NBA team.
Yeah.
Is right now is what, 28? Yeah, 28 years old. Just turned 28. 3-time All-Star.
Did they supermax him?
5-time All-Defense. They technically did give him. I don't think they had to give him the supermax because I don't think he made All-NBA the year that they. No, he's never made All-NBA. I apologize.
But wasn't he like All-Defense or something? Can't you?
He made 5 All-Defense teams.
I was going to say, can't you make it like that, or is it only Defensive Player of the Year? Am I getting that?
I think it's only Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
I don't think they gave him a supermax.
It's a lot of
regular
money though.
It's a regular third max.
Yeah.
Which I think is 30% of the cap.
Yeah, it's 9. That's 9 years of service usually. If you, depending on where you're thing, which is at 30% max. 10 years is where you get to 35.
He was the 14th pick in the draft. By the way, that 13-14 best end of lotto back-to-back Donovan Mitchell, Bam Adebayo we've ever seen. That's insane.
I was like looking at Jared Allen is not on this list because the Nets traded him, but then you get like
I had him.
Jared Allen like later further on down the list. That draft, like 2017 draft, like kind of like Lauri Markkanen, like kind of came and went. Like De'Aaron Fox 5, Tatum 3. Like if Lonzo doesn't get hurt, Jonathan Isaac's like like he's not a good player, but he's like
this is not a really
bust for number 6. Yeah,
there were a ton of busts, but they came literally right after Bam, which is what makes this pick so impressive because there were plenty of complete bust right after him. Justin Jackson, complete bust. Justin Patton, complete bust. DJ Wilson, complete bust. TJ Leaf, complete bust. And then you had to get to John Collins before you got another good pick. So that makes this pick even more impressive to me. The thing that's always seared into my mind when people talk about the thing that's always seared into my mind when it comes to this whole like draft workouts don't matter thing is I remember Seth Partnow talking about when he worked for the Bucks, they had in Bam for a workout and they were like, oh man, this guy's so much more than a rim running center. But he went to Kentucky, and as we talked about with Kentucky, Calipari put guys in roles where they didn't get to show off their full skill set. And Bam very much showed that in workouts in a way that he didn't. And he said the Bucks tried to trade up to get him. They ended up taking DJ Wilson instead, and he turned out to be a bust, like I just said. But Bam is someone who, like I said, like we talk about teams always looking for wings. Just below that is switchable bigs, and he's basically the best of that archetype. In terms of switching out onto guards, switching onto wings, still being like a very good team defender, and can be a second or third option on offense. I think they've done him a disservice trying to make him into an offensive hub. That's just not his game. He doesn't have the ability to do that. But if they were able to pull off a Donovan Mitchell trade or a Damian Lillard trade or one of those other guys, or Tyler Hero continues to go upward after last year, there's a world where Bam almost was the second best player on a championship team. You don't even have to think that hard. They made it to the finals twice. And he is very clearly the third best player from this draft. Tatum, Mitchell, and then him.
Yeah.
Third best player at 14. Fantastic value. Really legitimately like one of the best draft picks from the last decade for sure. Okay.
It's one of those. Bam's one of those things where it's like he just the conversation around him just got to be so much during like the Heat's Mickey Mouse runs that I feel like he was like overrated for like 3 years straight there. But he's a very like good. He's a great player. He's just a really great player who like always going to be an all defense type guy. Like if he's not overtasked, can be a really strong contributor to the offense if you're not like counting on him to like carry.
They fuck him over a lot by just being like, go be Jokic.
Yeah.
Like he's not that level of big, like he's not on the run your offense through him level guy. He's several notches below that, but if he's your second or third option, then
if he's your third best like offensive player, that's perfect for him. Like he can absolutely
or if the first best player is a superstar guard, not like a pretty good guard.
Yeah.
But like if you had him with this is obvious, there are plenty of guys that can do this. But if you had him with like Steph, then people think about him a lot differently, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so
he would play well with SGA too. Like,
yeah, sure. So all right, your next pick.
There's another late star guy that I was talking about. I still really don't want to take him, so I'm gonna start cracking into my guys who are like strong starters for like playoff teams in this tier. So let's do a tremendous leap because I want to talk about him. Probably the only guy who's going to be picked from a 2022 draft or more recent. Oh no, we just took Jaylen Williams. Okay, second guy. Let's get my guy Andrew Nembhard in here.
Oh wow, I had him on my board, but considerably lower.
No.
I mean, I think there are other players that are better than him that
I think there
but he's a good player.
Here's my thing with Andrew Nembhard though, is he's so young compared to some of these other guys.
Not really. Andrew Nembhard's like 26.
He's like 26, but I'm just saying, like, he's only been in the NBA for like three. Like,
yeah, this was his third season, I think.
Yeah, like he's only been in the NBA for like 3 years. A lot of these guys, like I'm sure one of the guys you're thinking of was like on a championship team in like 2019. Like there's guys who are like have been around for like a long time.
Apologies to Andrew Nembhard. He's 24, almost 25.
So,
I'm sorry. He turned 25 earlier this year. He'll be 26 in the middle of next season.
Okay. I think that last playoffs took him from like, is Andrew Nembhard like a real proven star? Like
he won me over for sure. He was nails in a lot of big moments.
I think he's like kind of him. I think he's a very strong starter. I think he's a very strong starter, a guy who very critically can carry an offensive load in a fucking playoff situation against literally one of the best defenses of all time. Like that was extremely impressive. Okay, are the Thunder a good defense or not? Like what?
No. I think the Thunder. I'm not doubting that portion of it. I don't think that he carried their offense at all. That's where I disagree. But it doesn't matter. We're now reaching a point where you're correct. He's a clear starter level guard and a perfect complement to their superstar player who happened to get hurt in the last game. And it's not his fault that I think TJ McConnell did a better job carrying the offense is my whole thing. But either way, it doesn't matter.
I just think that given Nembhard's age, where he was drafted, I think that he's been a really fucking important part to that. He was the one who scared the shit out of me as like, you learn when your team plays another team, like who's good and who's not, like, because like he scared the fucking shit out of me, dude. I was so scared of him that fucking thing. It's Donovan Mitchell. The same thing with Donovan Mitchell. I got a lot of respect for Donovan Mitchell the second my team started playing him in the playoffs every year. Like you like learn who these guys are. I think Andrew Nembhard is like kind of turbo him, and I don't think he's like done being good. Like I think that he's a lot closer to like Jamal Murray than like some of these like other players that are around this type of range. I don't know. Is he necessarily going to be, I think he's going to be in that Jamal Murray archetype where it's like, okay, this guy is terrible. Like not terrible in the regular season, but he's just like a guy in the regular season. And then
it's something about these Canadian guards where they go up a level. I mean, even Lou Dort
right.
in these playoffs. Now, half of that is that he's playing football, but and he's never been a playoff guy previous to this year. But like the Nembhard thing is undeniably, he is built for it. He is not mentally phased by any means.
Yeah,
I think he's really going to struggle without Halliburton next year, and I don't think that's a fault of him. I think that he is going to be one of the better secondary guards in the NBA. Like, I think that he's going to basically be someone that is a great two-way player who is a great complement to a weird player like Haliburton, that can play off of stars and occasionally cook and create his own offense for himself and for others. But I think that it's just a tough situation with Indiana losing Haliburton, similar to what we just talked about with Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Maxey, but on a smaller scale, obviously, because those guys are volume scorers as opposed to Nembhard only being a volume scorer like 4 or 5 times in the playoffs. Over the past 2 years.
Can I ask you something though? There's something else about Nembhard though. Like, so it's sounding like you think that the fact that he played really good defense on SGA, that's something that's specific to him playing against SGA. That he's not going to.
No, I think he's a really good defender. I don't disagree with that. I think he's been surprisingly good on defense for when he was coming out of college. He was like, he was the guy in college. He was like Jalen Brunson, or when you're comparing him to these prospects for where he went, he was like an upperclassman, hyperproductive Walter Clayton type almost. And the fact that he has become a good defender, now he's a little bit bigger than those guys. He's stronger than those guys. So he had a little bit more to work with, but like the fact that he's become a good defender in the NBA is actually a surprise. And once again, I think that he is like their Derek White more than, like that's how and Derek White's a great player. It's not slander at all, but like in the long term, I think that he's going to struggle when he has to scale up in a way that a few of these other guys, I don't think anyone we've mentioned so far would have quite the same problems. But once again, he was just a starter on a team that could have won the championship. Like he was clearly their 4th best player and at times their 3rd best player. Like I'm not slandering him by any means. There were 1 or 2 guys ahead of him that I see as having higher ceilings that were also later picks.
Okay, I'd like to hear, because maybe I just missed some guys because none of the guys on my list I really feel that way.
So there's a 2nd round pick I'm not going to take. I guess I'll just leave it up to you, and maybe this was the player you didn't want to take. I'll take Sengun next.
Okay, yeah.
So now maybe Sengun just ends up being the flawed initiator, Sabonis. Name a offensively tilted big that does not have a higher level to reach. There's also a chance that it's weird because every time when like you look at like certain player stats with players on and off, and you're like, oh man, this player's so much better when X player isn't with him.
Yeah.
Normally it's like RJ Barrett, Jalen Green. Every player on the Rockets has better stats without Jalen Green, except for Sengun. Like, Sengun's stats were weirdly better with Jalen Green last year.
Yeah. So that was what I was gonna say about Sengun, is because he's like very weird in that he's like one of these guys who's like seemingly plays better. Like he kind of like fits out of the Rockets context. You know what I'm saying? Like he kind of, I don't want to say he like puts a floor on them, but he doesn't like totally fit with like what I think is like the vision for their team. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
they want to run, they want to do. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Like a young athletic team, like he's more of like a lumbering, like paint heavy big. I get that.
I don't get the impression like Ime like loves him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like.
But I just want to say this. I'm willing to bet that last year was an outlier for him in terms of the 2-point stuff. Because in his first year, he shot 54% from 2. Second year, he shot 57%. Next year, he shot 56.7. And then last year, he shot 51% from 2. So I'm willing to bet all that layup stuff, all of that was kind of just like weird, bad season for him. And I think that going into next year, when he is maybe a little bit more, I know that they got Kevin Durant, but he's still going to be a main focus of their offense. I still think that with his defensive improvements that he made last year, I thought his defense was pretty good. Like he used to be someone that was like heavily targeted by teams all the time. And he's like low key kind of massive. And he does a diet version of what the Jokic stuff with like getting his hand in passing lanes, being disruptive in that regard. He's always been like a steals and blocks guy, but he actually, and part of this is that their defense is just like, they give him great defensive protection on that end for sure. But like he had like legit rim protection moments and stretches last year where it was like, okay, maybe he's not like a total sieve on defense. And if that's the case, then like he's passable to good on defense. Combine that, now that's also matchup dependent. Combine that with like a bounce back year from 2, and he's probably like, he's still 22. Like, I think that's the one thing with Sengun. Like, he came into the league super young. I think he's 23 now, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's 23, but he was 22 last year. He turned 23 4 days ago. So normally when you're a player of his caliber and you're as good as he was as a young player, and you have elements of your game, like he got better with dealing with double teams. He got better. He expanded his bag a little bit. And he got better on defense. Like normally those kind of players, and maybe his all-star game was a little bit mickey just because Houston needed a representative. And he had a weird year last year, but like the large majority of the time, those players that are that productive and good and show legit growth become like top players in the NBA. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be one of the 5 best players, but there's a world where he can be like a top 15 player, even though it's like a little bit unorthodox in the way that it looks.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is like his first few years in the league, you like run his simulations and it's like Jokic, nobody else even close to, anything else,
well,
like,
except for, what was his name again? Alvin Adams or whatever.
Yeah,
Remember that player on the Suns we always talk about from the 70s? Like every time we run a Q, it's like, why the fuck does this guy always come? But he was really good. He just had like injuries and stuff.
Here's the issue with that though. He's about to be Yanginated. He's about Hansen Yang has come to dominate him. This is going to be
the Yang dynasty overthrowing the Ottoman Empire.
Yes, exactly. This is the Turk fears the Chinese. So this is
Hassan Piker is shaking in his boots.
Yeah, he's terrified, folks. Like this is I have to say. I mean, I just like. I feel like with Alperen Sengun, like there's not really agnostics. You're either like a little bit of a skeptic or you're a little bit of a believer. And I'm a little bit more of a and I just think I'm a little bit more of a skeptic. Like
he was, to be clear, he was ass at times in that Warrior series. But also, not every team's gonna have Draymond Green. Now
that's true.
He will run into matchups where he gets exploited defensively eventually. And that will be a cause for concern for sure. But like, I feel pretty confident he's going to make a few more all-star teams. And like, he was 16th pick in the draft and like definitely should have went higher in retrospect. Turkish League MVP as a 19-year-old or 18-year-old, highly productive every year in the NBA and in pro. He's very obviously an unorthodox but good player. So yeah, that's who I'm going to take. So then you're up on the board next.
Okay. I just realized this player got I'm gonna keep trying to get me to take this bad player, and I'm not gonna do it. Let's do
player. Who am I missing here? I feel like I'm missing someone.
Oh yeah, you must be.
Yeah.
I mean, no, he's you know what though? I think he is worse than Sengun, so it's not like you're crazy off the board with that. But I am gonna take, you know what? I'll take OG Anunoby here.
That's a good one. What was he, the 19th pick? 20th pick?
23rd, I believe.
Wow. Okay, so that's really good.
Yeah, I think 23rd. He was picked right after Jared Allen.
I had a tough time with him.
Yeah.
Only because he wasn't a major part of the championship team, even though he played for them that year. He was good for the Raptors and should have made more all defense teams, to be clear. I don't know. I think he made one with them. He also had injuries too, so that was part of it.
It was him and another guy in this draft. And again, because like kind of justifying my Jaylen Johnson pick, I just think that this type of player is like very valuable. Like, and getting them at the 20, like if you get these guys it's literally how the Raptors won the championship is getting a guy like this right in the 20s with their like late first round pick.
He made one all defense team with the Raptors. That's the one
is
time
quite
that I think the Raptors fans bitching are actually legit. Like,
yeah.
he is he is very clearly one of the 10 best defenders in the NBA.
Yeah.
Although, this is why he only played 43 games and 48 games in back-to-back seasons. And then in 2019, 2020, he played a bunch of games, but he was still super young. So he probably wasn't on the radar of voters.
Yeah. So like, I just think just in terms of like value and stuff, like the other thing you could argue here is that, he was part of like the trade that will destroy the Raptors for
that's
a decade.
Funny because we're not going to get to this player, but I had very far down on my list. I had Emmanuel Quickly for this exact reason, which is not only did you get the best years of Emmanuel Quickly's career so far and an insane positive value on his rookie contract, but you also flipped him for a much better player.
Yeah. I'm not counting. I'm discounting that in the OG Anunoby because if you traded him when you should have, you would have gotten 4 first-round picks.
Sure.
From the Memphis
that's
Grizzlies,
that is not the OG pick is fantastic. It's not. Yeah. It's everything after that they fucked up. Really, the last great draft pick by them, right? Like Scotty was good, but Scotty was the 4th pick in the draft.
Yeah,
like,
Scotty was like 4th in the draft. So
am I missing someone? I feel like Raptors fans are going to yell at us. No, like Grady Dick, Jacoby Walder,
Pirtle.
No, Pirtle was before.
Oh, was he before? Okay.
Yeah, he was 2016. No. This is 2017.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm also realizing I forgot Desmond Bane, but oh well.
I had him. Obviously, I had him on my list. Okay.
I probably should have taken Desmond Bane there.
Okay. Honestly, I would have taken Desmond Bane earlier, but I kept getting guys you were taking. You went a little bit off the beaten path there. So I'll take Desmond Bane here. I mean, had an argument that he probably, if he was in the East, I think he makes an all-star team over the last few years, is what I'm going to say. And now he's in the East and he has a chance. It's going to be tougher because the guards are even better now than they were a few years ago. But like the years that like Maxey made it or Bradley Beal made it, or he's that level of player. He just happens to be in the West where you have to be a Hall of Famer to make the all-star team, basically. I mean, we talked a lot about Desmond Bane this offseason. Really high level, high impact player. Not great on defense, not a total disaster on defense. Really good offensive player. One of the better recent 4-year guys that got drafted into the NBA. By the way, I have someone else that I'm going to take later, but it's kind of crazy that I don't even know if I'll get to him. No, I won't. So I'll just say it right now. In back-to-back years, they drafted Desmond Bane and Santi Aldama with the 30th pick.
I had Santi on my short list. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
That's insane value with the 30th pick in back-to-back drafts. They were really high on their own supply, which is why the 2022 draft was such a disaster for them.
God, that's Zaire Williams. I've never seen anything devastating.
Well, that was 21. So 21 they at least got Santi. 22 was way worse. They got Jake LaRavia, who isn't on their team anymore, who was a fine pick where he was picked, but they traded an extra first to trade up for him. Then they traded DeAnthony Melton for David Roddy, which was a disaster. And then they took Kennedy Chandler and Vince Williams in the second round. Vince turned out to be an NBA player. Kennedy Chandler was instantly out of the NBA in like a year. It was always going to be an uphill battle for him. He was like legitimately 5'10". Yeah. But this stretch, 2020 and 2021, even if you want to go back a little bit further, the Brandon Clark pick was great value in 2019 too. Before he had his injuries and stuff. But yeah, Desmond Bane was great for the Grizzlies. They ended up trading him for a massive haul. One of the 5 or 6 best shooters in the NBA, probably one of the 5 best shooters in the NBA.
We should have gotten him earlier.
Yeah, I had him higher on my list than you did. Like I had him above Nembhard. I had him above Jaylen Johnson.
I just forgot about him. That's why.
Yeah.
I would have picked him. I would have put him ahead of Bam, I think.
Yeah. All right. There's one guy that you have not picked that I'm shocked you weren't the one to take him. But let's do one more pick each, and then we'll run.
Okay, I'm refusing to take the bad player, so I'm gonna take Herb Jones now.
Okay, good. Finally, Herb Jones. Yeah. I had Herb Jones on my list too. 34th pick, by far the best second round draft pick in that draft. I mean, the only other one that was even like a good NBA player is Io, I think.
Yeah,
because that was 2021, right? Yeah.
Good wing. You'll notice my theme. Good, another good wing. Like getting that guy in the second round. I mean, the Pelicans. I don't know. I mean, I guess the results haven't been there.
By the way, I wanted to point that out.
Yeah,
which is wild.
It's kind of crazy, but like again, kind of a scam contract again, though.
Yeah, very clearly one of the 10 best players in the NBA who is not like a nothing on offense.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is I'm shocked every time I look up his rebounding numbers. They're like really bad for a wing.
Yeah, they're not good.
Yeah, that's like
he's more of a shooting guard than he is a
right. They play him at the 3-4 just because he's not a great shooter, and then the rebounding isn't great, but he's like a solid offensive player who's very clearly one of the 10 most disruptive defenders in the NBA.
Yeah. Helps that he's got Trey Murphy, who's like a moonshot anywhere, like as the other wing. Like I think really helps him. I think that pairing works very well. So
or I mean, I'm now looking at because we didn't take many second round picks, because of the rules. Because Brunson obviously would have went very high, but the only other second round picks that we've taken, it's just him and Nembhard. And then a few guys that are like late first that are like right on the borderline. But I'll take with my last pick, I'll take Austin Reeves.
Oh, okay.
That's not who you were gonna take?
No. We didn't take Dejounte Murray. We didn't take Dejounte Murray this whole time. That's how I feel. I was like, I don't want to fucking take him. He sucks. But he did technically make an all-star team. So
I was a career Dejounte hater.
Yeah.
He won me over with a stretch where he shot like way above his head for like 2 months. And I wanted the Sixers trade for him because I was like, this guy is a dog in a bucket and a problem.
Yeah.
Having said that, he wasn't like he was good for the Spurs. He made an all-defense team with the Spurs. He made an all-star team, but that all-star game is one of the most Mickey Mouse things in the history. It is truly insane, that pump and dump that we've talked about before, where they just juiced his stats across the board. So he had like basically the miniature version of the Russell Westbrook season when he won MVP.
Yes, that's a good comp. Yeah.
But like with like he's like a much worse player than Russell Westbrook. But yeah, no, I mean I kind of just landed on Dejounte's fake good. Like, I don't think Dejounte is like a really good. He's a talented player. He's just not. He's not someone that like literally every player we took, I would rather have on my team than Dejounte Murray. Even though Dejounte made an all defense and an all-star team. I mean, he has a better resume, sure.
Yeah.
But like pretty much every player we took, I'm like, yeah, they're all better than Dejounte Murray and have been throughout the majority of their career, I would say. Yeah. So, and like, look, Dejounte is good considering where he was selected. Like, you're not wrong, because there's that we talked about with the Siakam thing, like horrible stretch. And he probably should have went higher, but had some off the court concerns, which in time, I don't know if they've proven to be true, because he got along great with Pop. Obviously, he's had a little bit of a clash with management and coaches and players on teams before, but seemingly I think that his reputation of being like an asshole might be a little bit overblown. No, like Dejounte is very talented. He's just, we're seeing it with this restricted free agency where it's like the flawed initiator thing is like really starting to catch up with guys. And Dejounte at least had the bit of a stocks merchant, but he had the steals and blocks. I think he was a steals leader one season, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah.
At least he had that. But he also is someone who you have to specifically build around his weaknesses, and he's not quite good enough to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we're seeing with like Kuminga and Giddey and Cam Thomas and these guys in restricted free agency, where the league's like, you're good, you're talented, but we're not going to like build our whole team around like what you're bad at, and you want a ton of money, and it makes it impossible for us to do that. And you're not one of our two best players or two best players on a very good team, like a playoff team. So that ultimately is what, like, how many times, like, what has Dejounte made the playoffs twice in his career?
Yeah.
Not all his fault, but he's definitely part of it. Like,
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
all right. Yeah, maybe that was a little bit slanderous, but Austin Reeves, undrafted. I mean, Austin Reeves is just very good.
He's good. Yeah.
Very good, undrafted, second best undrafted player on this list behind Fred VanVleet. Maybe there's someone I'm forgetting, but like that's considering the fact that he was undrafted and got drafted to a team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and was a legit contributor on a playoff team as the third option. And has moments where he can legitimately scale to be a second and sometimes pseudo first option. Pretty great considering even with all of the defensive issues and his fit with Luka and that stuff. Like the Lakers, that was really the last time the Lakers cooked in the draft. Like they've kind of been ass since then. 2023, they whiffed on the Jalen Hood-Schifino pick. Dalton Connect has been very underwhelming after his everyone overhyped him early in his career. And we'll see with Adutero. I like the pick and the swing where they took him. I think he's going to be a long-term guy. If he works out, he's not going to be like an instant impact player in the NBA, but he might be someone that like 4 or 5 years from now is like a pretty good player. But Austin Reeves was their last hurrah as like they had their stretch of like crushing the draft from like 2014 to like 2021.
We're not going to count the jewel of the Luka Doncic trade.
Max Christie.
Max Christie.
What was he, 2023 draft on second round?
I think so. Something like that. Yeah.
He's fine. He's a bench player. Like, yeah, I know the fact we didn't take him in the prestige zone draft is kind of crazy, especially because we literally had a week of propaganda after the Luka trade about him because Luka hadn't played yet.
Yeah.
And it was like, the Mavs got Max Christie. And I was literally my analogy for it was when 9/11 happened and then they were trying to get all the people out of the rubble. And it's like the damage is already done. Like who cares that you got Max Christie? Like,
yeah. It's tough. It was really fucking tough.
Yeah. That's like a good meal at a funeral.
My apologies to some of my runner-ups who didn't make it, especially undrafted guys. Sam Hauser, Lou Dort, Caleb Martin.
Oh wow,
Duncan Robinson.
Wow, you had a lot of guys that I didn't even think of. That's good because the rest of my list after these picks were Jaden McDaniels.
I had Jaden McDaniels
28th pick, great value there.
Yeah.
Honestly, he could end up higher on this list in a few years too.
For sure.
Like if he continues to get better on offense, because most wings are not great on offense until they're around his age, and he has gotten better on that end. I had Nembhard, like you said. I had Bane, but I had Bane a little bit. I moved Bane up last second, so this is my old list. I also had Mitchell Robinson on here.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't think about that. Yeah, he definitely deserves it. Yeah. He's injured so much, but when he does play,
he's a really good player.
Yeah,
and it's more just about availability. And honestly, the best Knicks draft pick from the last decade because he's remained on the Knicks.
Yeah,
like
we also didn't draft Derek White. He was the other one I was going to take.
He was pretty good for the Spurs, but he cooked with the Celtics.
Yeah,
like that's the difference.
That's why I didn't take him.
Yeah, and then I had my last two were Santi Aldama and Emmanuel Quickley. So I'm sure there will be people that we get yelled at for not mentioning. But look, we have 2 minutes left until our government mandated 2 hours of YKB every single episode. So anything you want to talk?
Well, Chris Boucher didn't get mentioned, so the Raptors fans are going to find us.
Was he an undrafted? No, he wasn't.
He was undrafted.
Pick. He was.
He was undrafted though.
But he was the Warriors.
Oh, the Warriors signed him first. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
He was on one of the. He was like never played on one of the Warriors championship teams. I think.
That's very funny. I didn't know that.
He was the Patrick McCall. He had the Patrick McCall variant of. I think he has 2 championships on his Wikipedia page, but he actually ended up playing for the Raptors at one point.
If you're, I will say, I'll plug, if you're a YKB fan who loves watching me torture myself, I have decided to get back into the Red Sox for this this stretch. And it's not going well.
You're cursed.
They're up 1. It's going into the bottom of the 9th, and it goes into a 90-minute rain delay last night. So I go to bed. I wake up in the morning. They immediately I just immediately gave the game away. Walked a guy, hit a guy with a pitch,
Amazing.
Hit into a fielder's choice, and then a guy hit a single to end the game.
By the way, you're not beating the Zach Lowe allegations right now, because Zach is now doing Mets Corner once a week on the Zach Lowe show.
Well, the Mets are a delightful. I know we've got a lot of Phillies fans, so they're not going to believe this. The Mets are a tropical delight. The Red Sox are an evil.
Yeah, that's what the last 50 years of baseball or 30 years of baseball tell us.
Yeah.
The Mets are a joyous delight that everyone
they
loves.
Are. When you don't care about them, when you have no emotional interest in the Mets, they're so fun. There's nothing more fun.
Janked by a New York fan that listens to our podcast. My Red Sox who have won 4 championships.
Yeah, I was only really plugged in for 3 of them. I'm gonna be honest. I was not around. Yeah, I was only 2004. That's the only Boston non-Celtics Boston. No, that's not true. The first Patriots one was pretty good too. But the first one for a while counts. There's diminishing returns after that.
We're gonna shoot you. We're gonna kill you so badly.
We're
gonna kill I can't even say anything because the Eagles are coming back, and I'm I can't get into it as much. I know once the season starts, I'll be really excited. Yeah. But right now, I'm just they've already done
they did it. That's what I'm saying.
They did it in a way that was so undeniable. That I keep seeing people complain, people were getting into arguments on my timeline over Jalen Hurts, and I'm how are you still doing this? They won the Super Bowl, and he was very clearly one of the best players on the field, outplayed Patrick Mahomes, and for the second time in 3 years was him on the highest level. There's nothing left to say. Although someone did bring up a good point, which was but you guys are basketball fans. You don't really this is the closest thing you have to a downtime. Summer League ended a week ago, and then you go 2 months with not really anything going on. Not even Eurobasket starts in less than a month. Eurobasket, the exhibition games start in a few weeks. So if you're really into basketball, or the W's on right now, you could just watch the W. Basketball fans are just incredibly spoiled compared to pretty much every other sport.
Yeah. You can always watch hoops.
There's always something on, whether it's the W or international hoops or summer league or whatever. There's no down period really. This is the closest thing we get.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's 3 weeks at the end of July, early August where there's nothing on, but other than that, you're just it's always ramped up, and there's usually some kind of slop or something like that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm gonna go watch the Boston Red Sox lose one of these games.
Have fun.
Again. Yeah, it's
all right. We'll be back
great. Friday
Friday for the Patreon episode. You're gonna want to sign up for that. Friday we'll be doing it 5 p.m.
Bang bang.
By the way, real quick before we get off here, do you want to do draft streams next week?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
For
you watch 2015.
Oh yeah. I was wait, was the NFL draft? Did I miss?
No,
that?
we have to farm. We have to content farm during the off season.
Yeah, let's do it. No. We can. Yeah, let's grind that. Let's grind some tape.
So we'll keep an eye out on that. We'll do that for the Patreon subscribers since we're moving off playback, and then that will have to go up on the Patreon. I'll post highlights to the YouTube and stuff, but for copyright reasons, I can't post the whole thing. So
yeah.
Keep an eye on. Stay tuned,
see it.
folks.
We'll have to see it. All right.
Peace.
Peace.